Hello, and thank you for taking some time today to look at this presentation. Today we will be talking to you about the 2020 AMCAS application and how that will intersect with the PIR system over the next few months. My name is Liz Hyger. I'm a Prehealth advisor and the coordinator for the Prehealth program. I am in charge of managing the PIR system. So if you have any logistical questions about your letters of recommendation or your letter packet, you can direct those to me. Dean Herman, who helped me put together this presentation for you today, is the Prehealth program director, and her signature will be on most of your cover letters. The exception for that is our engineering students. Those letters will be signed by Dean Ron Lau, and the post-bac students, whose cover letters will be written and signed by their advisor. We've already been getting a number of questions about the logistics of applying. So our goal of this session is that we want to give you an overview of the application process. We want to highlight some important dates for you, and we also want to take a deeper dive into the sections that have generated a lot of questions in the past. By doing that, our hope is to reduce a little of the stress that you may be feeling during this high-stakes process. AMCAS opens for data entry on May 4th. If you have taken the MCAT, you should already have an account. So we suggest when you are finished watching this presentation, go ahead, log in, and see if you can start entering some data and personal information there. If you are eligible, apply for fee assistance programs. Eligibility requirements and benefits can be found online. There is a tutorial there that will show you the key steps to completing the application, including the necessary financial documents that you will need in order to apply. In the past, students have expressed some concern about applying to these programs, and please know that there is no disadvantage to applying to them. If anything, this might be an opportunity to explain a gap in your application. For example, if you had to work more hours and therefore have less service hours to show in your activities section, it can clarify why your activities section might be lacking if they see that you are eligible for the fee assistance program. So if you are eligible, don't miss the opportunity to take advantage of this support. Junior Jumpstart has moved to a virtual format this year due to COVID. And although we are sad that we can't all be together on this day, the Prehealth team has produced a few sessions that we want you to check out. There are videos on how to choose medical schools and an interview session as well. Also, this one that you are currently watching, but there's a lot of other great content there also. So please take the opportunity to explore the other programs that will be posted. Sending transcripts. At WashU, final grades are due by your faculty on May 7th, so check to be sure that your grades have been posted. Then you will make your request through your WebStack account. You will choose e-delivery from the drop-down menu, and you could submit your transcript electronically to AMCAS. After you have made your request through WebStack, email the AMCAS transcript matching form to the registrar's office. The Prehealth office cannot send your transcripts, and WashU cannot forward transcripts from other schools. You will also need to send transcripts from any U.S. institution where you have attempted coursework. Another thing to note is if you took college coursework in high school, you might have a college transcript from another institution out there, and you should also forward that to AMCAS. Even if WashU did not give you credit for it, when you are requesting transcripts, you will also want to make sure that you are ordering yourself an official transcript. You will want to use that when you are entering your data into your application. There are definitely variations if you are working from an unofficial transcript and you don't want to make any errors when filling out your application. Here you see it, the AAMC website has a 2020 AMCAS applicant guide. This guide has extensive information for applicants. So this is a good time to download it and save it to your desktop. Before you email AMCAS or the Prehealth office with questions about your application, check to be sure that your question cannot be answered in the applicant guide. We are happy to answer your questions if you can't find an answer to them on your own, but remember the Prehealth office is very busy writing letters and getting your packets together. We want to help you walk you through some of the things that have generated a lot of questions for us in the past. However, there are also some video tutorials on the AMCAS website for every tricky part of the process. They're not exciting to watch, but they are helpful. I find myself going through them at times to help students figure out how to enter things. AMCAS has its own YouTube channel that you can subscribe to, and there are also the same videos on the website, so you can find them there as well. Under the schools attended section of the AMCAS application, you will enter Washington University, and you will then see an advisor release. It is very, very important that you select yes here. This is how we will monitor your application status on our advisor portal to know when your application has been verified. We do this so we can see who needs a cover letter completed. There's also a question on your primary application about whether you have had any convictions for felonies or misdemeanors. If you're not sure, it probably makes sense to ask for a criminal background check. You may be wondering, how can anyone not know this? But surprisingly, some things like speeding tickets, depending on the municipality, may actually show up on a criminal background check. Maybe you didn't realize when you mailed in your fine that you were also pleading guilty to some type of criminal offense. So it's probably not a big deal, but in general, medical schools do not like surprises. So it's much better to provide any information along these lines upfront and take responsibility for it. They're also going to ask if you've been the recipient of an institutional action, either academic or conduct violation. If you have an academic action, if you've received a probation, or if you've been asked to take time away, then you certainly want to answer yes to this question. But the explanation can be very short and sweet. We also want to say that plenty of students with academic actions do extremely well and successfully go to medical school. So just be sure to be accurate and honest. If you have a conduct violation, you certainly need to disclose that as well. You should probably talk with someone. Your pre-health advisor is a good candidate. Dean Herman is happy to talk with students. You can also email me and discuss it with your pre-health advisor. I promise you, after years of doing this, we've heard it all. You can't shock us, and we are certainly not going to judge you. What we want most of all is to help you think through how you want to discuss this and make sure that you sound mature and responsible. We want to help you portray that you've learned something from the infraction and grown from it. This is a chance for you to convey your growth and your capacity for improvement. Also, if you tell us that you have a disclosure and we can say something helpful about it in the cover letter, we will. So please don't feel intimidated to share this information with us. We're on your side and we want to help you. There are certain portions of the coursework section in AMCAS that generate a lot of questions for applicants. The first piece is entering AP credit coursework. And it's important to note that if you're a Texas resident, the method for how you enter coursework on TMDSAS is different. So if you're applying to TMDSAS schools, please email us and we'll send you some information. We will also need to send documentation to TMDSAS to explain our AP policy. So for AMCAS, the way your AP coursework appears on your official transcript at WashU is that they will list all the courses that you could have received AP credit for with 0 credits assigned to them. Then at the bottom, it will have a maximum of 15 credits earned. If you have less than 15 credits, you just enter the number of credits earned in each AP class. But if you've earned more than 15 credits, it's going to be up to you to choose how you want to break up and assign those 15 credits, making sure not to exceed the 15 credits granted by WashU. If this is confusing to you, feel free to email myself or Dean Herman with questions. There is also a great tutorial on entering AP credit. The other thing that causes a lot of confusion is how to classify your courses. There is an AMCAS application course classification guide that we really want you to look at. The course classification is not based on which department the course came out of, but rather the primary content of the course. So for example, if you took Psych Stats, you're going to classify that as a math class. It is up to you to decide what the course classification should be. So if you're not sure, you can refer to the WashU course description or contact the department the course is offered through. The other area that generates a lot of questions is study abroad. AMCAS does not accept foreign transcripts. Now the exception to that is if you went to an American college overseas. Please look at the list of American colleges overseas because some of them are a little bit surprising. Make sure that your institution where you studied is not one of the American colleges overseas, and then also make sure that you don't have a transcript from another US college or university that sponsored an abroad program. So a few of our study abroad programs actually run through other colleges or universities, in which case you would want to send a transcript from them. If you have a study abroad transfer credit from another college or university, and because it is a US transcript, you are obligated to send that. If you have any questions about any of these sections, take a look at the website. And if you still have questions, please join our live Q&A at Junior Jumpstart. If you are unable to attend, you can contact us via email or during Dean Herman's Zoom meeting hours, Thursdays from 2 to 5. You have up to 15 slots where you can list activities. You do not have to fill out all 15 of them. You don't want to put down things that are irrelevant just to fill spaces. You should be listing all of your shadowing, all of your clinical experience, all of your volunteer and service in your activities section. It is absolutely okay to list things like study abroad or research, so you can say more about them and highlight them here. It's okay to list things on your activities section that would also appear on your transcript. Lots of the questions we get about entering activities are either around assigning hours or who is my contact for this. So assuming most people did not keep a time diary of every minute that they spent, you're going to have to make guesses. You're going to have to make estimates here. AMCAS probably isn't going to make you prove that you spent exact number of hours that you wrote down, but also don't try to exaggerate anything and make sure it makes sense. For example, if in particular time period, the total number of hours you are assigning to various activities adds up to more hours than there are in the week, then that will be a red flag. Just make sure that it seems sensible. You can also put down different number of hours for the same activity during different periods. So for example, if you worked in a lab during the school year of your sophomore year and put in 10 hours a week, and then again in the summer of your junior year and worked 40 hours a week, there will be a way to break that up under one activity. If you don't have a contact for one of your student union group activities, you will want to list Leslie Houston, who is the Executive Director for Campus Life. Make sure that you understand on your AMCAS application that you do not have to wait, and in fact, you should not wait for your letters of recommendation in order to hit submit. As soon as you're done with your data entry, your portion of the primary application, please hit submit. Your letters are not part of your primary application. We will post the letters to your account later. This is one of the very few sections of AMCAS that you are able to change after you've hit submit without disrupting the status of your application. You will select that you will be sending a letter packet, but you don't even have to look at that until you've hit submit because you can do that afterwards. So instructions are emailed to the Prehealth listserv on May 1st. And if you missed that email, contact Prehealth at Worcester and we will send them to you again. On May 4th, you can begin entering data. On May 28th, the 2021 AMCAS application opens for submission. This is the very first day that you can submit your application to AMCAS. So we want to point out this graph to you to make sure that everybody understands that applying early really does make a quantitative difference. You want to be in one of the green bars, not one of the red bars. And while you can see that applying early is not a guarantee, there are certainly people who apply early and still end up not being accepted. The proportion of students who are not accepted keeps going up the later you apply. So applying really early really is important. When we did a careful statistical analysis of a 5-year cohort of Washington University applicants, the timing of application was an independent predictor of success or acceptance to at least one medical school. In fact, the timing of application was an independent predictor of success with an effect size about the same as MCAT. So while you may not feel like there are some aspects of this application process that you can control, you completely control when you hit submit. If you are not ready to apply before the 4th of July, it might be better to pull back and wait for another cycle. We feel like if there's an advantage as large as MCAT score that you're completely in control of, you don't want to give that advantage away in this process. So you want to aim to submit your application end of May or early June. It doesn't have to be the first day that the application opens. You do want it to be early, but you also want to make sure it's error-free. We are completely confident that any time in the first 2 weeks of June is completely equivalent. So whether you submit on May 28th or June 15th, as long as you don't have a ton of errors, your application will be seen by medical schools at the same time. It's also worth mentioning again that this does not need to include your letters of recommendation. AMCAS verification is only concerned with your data entry. When you submit your application, it goes to the AMCAS verification queue. At this time, you should upload your submitted application to your PIR account under the PIR materials section. After submission, your application will join the AMCAS verification queue. This is a snapshot of what the submission date will look like on your application. So be sure there's a date there. This tells us that you have entered the verification pool. If your application is verified in June, it will not be forwarded to medical schools until July 10th. This is the very first day that AMCAS will begin forwarding process primary applications to medical schools. So before then, no medical school will have access to your primary application. It's important to note here that if medical schools can't see your application until July 10th, there's no need for your letter packet to be posted. So please don't pester us about letters before July. We are working very hard to write exceptional letters for all of our wonderful applicants. Also, this date has already been pushed back once, so it is possible that it may move again. You can find all of these dates on the AMCAS website calendar, and we will try to update the listserv with any changes that we see during the application cycle. Please know that there is a slight delay when letters are received by our office before they are uploaded to your account. We like to verify that letters are formatted properly before adding them to a student's account. So that is all done manually. At certain times in the summer, letters may take a little bit longer to be added to your account due to the volume being received. In July, if you have not heard from your letter writers and their letters haven't been uploaded to your PIR account, you may politely nudge them or remind them that they are writing for you. You should try to have all of your letters of recommendation received by August. If you are waiting on a letter that you plan on sending later, say as an individual letter that won't be a part of your cover letter, then that's okay if it comes in a little bit later. The cover letter is a letter of introduction and institutional support. The Prehealth office provides this for every student who applies through the PIR process. Anything that is present in your PIR account at the time you request your cover letter could potentially be included. The more robust your PIR materials are, the better we can help define your narrative and introduce you in the best possible light to medical schools. When you have made sure all of your materials are up to date in your account, you may request your cover letter. If you request your cover letter without these items completed, your request will be denied. So you'll need to have a completed PIR appointment, final versions of your PIR materials uploaded, your essential letters of recommendation received, and your AMCAS application. If you're requesting a cover letter before you submit your application, that is fine. Just add the submitted PDF to your account when you can. If you are a reapplicant, you should email the Prehealth office to let us know when you are ready for us to update your cover letter. There is no benefit to having your letters of recommendation posted before the medical schools can see your primary application. Medical schools will be looking at your letters of recommendation around the same time they are reviewing secondaries. Please do not email us asking about the status of your cover letter before July 10th. After primary applications begin forwarding to medical schools, we aim to have cover letters posted to your account no more than 3 weeks after your AMCAS verification date. This is why it is so important for you to click yes on that advisor release that we talked about earlier. If we cannot see your application, we cannot see when it has been verified, and we will not know that your cover letter should be written. If you are applying to Texas schools, please let us know. The timeline there is a little different, and we want to make sure that we know you are applying through TMDSAS. When we approve your cover letter, the PIR system will email you with instructions on how to request your letter packet to be sent. At WashU, we will send one letter packet to all medical schools that you're applying to. This generally includes the cover letter, followed by 3 to 5 letters of recommendation in any order that you choose. Medical schools understand our process, and they know that we send one packet to fulfill the different requirements at many different schools. So don't worry if you're not giving every school exactly what they want. They will look at the letters they need. We've never had any schools tell us that they don't want our letter packet. We will not customize packets to each school you are applying to. If you don't want a letter or letters going to specific schools, you will add them as individual letters to one or more school. If you have any questions about this as it comes up, email me and I can help you figure out what makes the most sense. You will also have the ability to create a separate letter packet if you are applying to DO programs. Some medical schools ask us to verify that you have truthfully disclosed any academic or judicial actions in your primary application. If you have a dean's certification form that needs to be submitted on your behalf, please send them to the Office of Student Conduct and Community Standards. We're here to help you in any way that we can, so please don't hesitate to contact us if you need support. Good luck. We wish you all a successful application.